Hi all, welcome to another Thursday Tips and Tricks. Today I'm going to talk about a specific product and it's called Invisi-Grip. And this is the product that I like to place on the back of my tools to help with slipping and sliding. There are lots of products that are on the market. There are sandpaper dots, there are silicone dots, there are sprays, and there are liquids that can be applied. But the Invisi-Grip is the one that I come back to all the time. This is a product that's created by Omnigrid, and there's a couple of reasons why I really like this product. First of all, it's a very thin film. And so unlike some of those silicone dots where they raise my ruler off the surface of my fabric and my seams, I get to put my lines right up against my seams and right up against my fabric, so I get higher precision. One of the other reasons I like it, there's no adhesive stickiness to this. It sticks by static cling. A third reason that I like it is for many of the techniques that I've developed that go above and beyond, I need a temporary line or a temporary mark on my specific tools, and I can do that easily on my Invisi-Grip. Either remove it with a little bit of soap and water usually takes it right off. But if not, and I don't want see those lines anymore, I can just peel off the Invisi-Grip. I'm not putting those lines directly on the underside of my tool. And the last reason that I like it is that it is the best thing I've found to protect my tools by covering the entire underside surface of the tools. No matter how hard I use them, no matter how much they rub against each other when I travel from North Carolina to Rotary, California, I don't have any damage to my tools. They stay in great shape. So this is what it looks like when you buy it. It's a 12.5 inches, it's a roll. It's 12.5 inches high and about 3 feet long. And when you take it out of the tool, it looks like this. Oh, before I get started on actually doing this, where am I working? Where am I setting this up? I'm actually working with this at my cutting table because I'm going to be rough cutting the shape out that I need to apply. And I want to make sure that I'm working with clean surfaces. So I've cleared my cutting area, but I take a sponge or a towel and make sure that there's no dust, there are no extra threads there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the tool. Now this is a tool that had Invisi-Grip on it, had a bunch of lines, and I decided it was time for a new one. So I took the old Invisi-Grip off, and even though there's no adhesive on there, before I applied the next round of Invisi-Grip, I went to the bathroom and just used a little mild hand soap and washed that to make sure that there was no oil, no dust on the underneath side of that tool. And then I'm handling it from the edges, so I'm not adding any oil from my hands on there. So I've unrolled my Invisi-Grip. When I open it up, you're going to see that there are two sides to this. There's a paper side and there's a film side. This is a very thin film that we're adding to the back of the tool. This is where what I do differs a little bit from the set of instructions. The set of instructions tells you to work with the film side up when you're rough cutting your shape. I actually prefer to put the paper side up. The second thing that the set of instructions tells you to do is to rough cut a piece of Invisi-Grip that's about 1/4 inch smaller than your tools. I actually prefer to cut my rough cut shape about 1/4 inch larger so that I don't have to struggle to get the film centered over the tool. I can easily place it and then come back and trim it down afterwards. So we're off and running. This is a piece an Invisi-Grip that I've already used. Sometimes you might need to put something on to keep that from unrolling at the end. But I'm going to take the tool that I want to cover, and it's a Lemoyne Star, and I'm going to basically center it in this space that I have right there. I'm not going to do a lot of fussing. You can use a used rotary cutting blade. I haven't found that it damages my cutting blade at all, but I'm going to cut along this edge and then just kind of rough cut so that I have a shape that is roughly the size that I need. Once I do that, I move this stuff out of the way and take the tool off. And I actually find that it's easier to put the tool on the film rather than the film on the tool. The hardest part of the situation is oftentimes removing that film or separating that film from the paper. Now this one seems like it's being cooperative, so I'm lucky here today. When I open this up, what I want to do is be careful not to touch the film. Even though I've washed my hands and they're nice and clean, I don't want to add any oil to that underside. This side that's against the paper is what I want against my tool. So I'm going to carefully peel it off, and it's going to disappear in the camera, but I'm laying it with that side that was against the paper up. I'm going to take my tool that's been cleaned on the underside, and I'm going to position that down so that the two clean edges are up against each other. And I'm going to basically center it over top of that film and give it a press. Now, once I've pressed it this way, I'm going to pick it up and make sure that I'm completely covered, which I am. I can see, you can't, because I'm up close and you're watching on camera. But use your hands to smooth out any air bubbles that might be in there, you know, all the way to the edges. And once it's applied, then come back with your rotary cutter and trim off those edges. You're going to see, I'll hold them up here. It's not very much. It's just, you know, a couple of little pieces that I'm trimming off. But I know that all of the lines, every line all the way out to the edge, it's just these couple of threads, or I'm sorry, a couple of bits that are trimmed away. But I now have a tool that's completely covered with the Invisi-Grip. And what will happen when you place this over top of a unit to trim it down, as long as there's no pressure being applied, it will slide easily over the unit. But when I get it lined up where it needs to be and I put the pressure down, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm moving the table, not moving the unit at all. So it's the downward pressure on the Invisi-Grip that will keep it in place, giving you safety when you're trimming those long skinny points and giving you the precision that you want by snugging those lines right up against your tools. So if you don't have it, head out to your local quilt shop and get it there. Buy one roll, buy two rolls, because I don't know about you, it'll cover. You want all your Studio 180 design tools covered with that Invisi-Grip. So that's it for today. You know, send us photos of what you're doing. Send us questions that you have that you'd like me to address. And I'll plan on seeing everybody next Thursday. Take care, everybody.